Hi everyone, welcome to our group presentations on a diverse artist artwork for Arts 2050. The people who collaborated to make this happen are Morgan Losquadro, Felder Martin, me, Daniel M, Megan McArthur, and Megan Lovell. Alright, let's jump right into it. The artist we decided to talk about today is Yinka Shonibare, and he is relevant to our course because he is someone who incorporates elements of racial tension and class into his pieces by the media of painting, sculpture, photography, and film. We watched a documentary about him and wrote a discussion post focused on him in Module 2.2. He is a British artist of Nigerian background. When he was in art school, he was told by his tutor, Byam Shah, he should try to create more authentic African pieces, which caused Shonibare to be very taken aback. Shah stated, "You are African, aren't you?" Shonibare became intrigued by the concept of race at that point. He states he never felt inferior to anyone just because he was raised biculturally, and if anything, he felt like people were inferior to him. He lived in Nigeria but was able to live in South London during his summers as well as speak Yoruba at home and English in school. He viewed his life as being privileged, not disadvantaged. He was brought up English, yet he was still expected to create African art. Shonibare then decided that his work would be focused on the construction of stereotypes, which is when he discovered the fabrics he would soon be recognized for. With a continuation of our introduction, we're going to start off with a quote. To his amazement, the best African fabric was actually manufactured in the Netherlands and exported to Africa. Further, the Dutch wax prints, as they are known, were originally inspired by Japanese batiks. Shonibare admits that his fascination with fabrics only grew when he found out their interesting cultural background. His tutor wanted him to be authentically African, but he wanted to make a statement that he lives in a world that is very diverse and influenced by many things. Shonibare also has a physical disability that paralyzes one side of his body. He states, having a disability is just finding different ways of achieving the same things. In a similar stance, Shonibare is taking his artwork and just finding a different way to express serious, cultural, and global issues, but in a fun and creative manner. In an interview with Anthony Downey, who is director of the Master's Program in Contemporary Art at Sotheby's Institute of Art in London, Shonibare explains that due to his physical limitations, he likes to paint things that are broken down into smaller pieces. He states, rather than actually trying to make some heroic large painting, what I do is fragment that heroism by reducing it to smaller, manageable chunks. On the last slide of our introduction, we're going to talk about why we chose Yinka Shonibare. We found that he has a very interesting take on raising awareness of issues through his art, such as the piece we're going to talk about today, Boy and Globe 4, which was created to raise awareness for climate change. Although Shonibare has battled with race and disability as negatives in our society, they have done the complete opposite and instead liberated him to be a very successful artist. Being a disabled British Nigerian artist is who he is and what he chooses to express, and he's proud of it. He shows no signs of slowing down, and it is exciting to see other artwork he chooses to create in the future. So finally, here it is, Yinka Shonibare's Boy and Globe 4. In the next few slides, we're going to go through the analytic model of art criticism to talk about this art piece. I encourage you to pause the video right here and think about what you are seeing, what you're feeling, because that's the exact next slide that we're going to get into, which is reaction. So now we're going to get into the first step of the analytic model of art criticism, the reaction step. And it's basically what you think it is. It's what is this? How does this make me feel? What does this remind me of? Some of the questions like that. This artwork portrays a person adorned with colorful clothing on top of a planet. Upon closer look, the planet is Earth. After seeing the United States of America and Mexico listed, the Earth appears as if it was being looked at through thermal imaging. The darker the color, the more hotter it is in those spots. Perhaps this has something to do with global warming. I learned from this course that Yinka Shonibare often tackles environmental issues such as oil, so it would not be surprising if he touched something as climate change. The person on the globe appears to be tripping or falling over, so it could be an analogy to humans. Humans are making the Earth unbalanced with all the greenhouse gases being released, and we will continue to fall unless we work towards reducing global warming. This work reminds me of all of Yinka Shonibare's works because he often uses these vibrant colors and headless figures to convey his ideas. Just to recap on the reaction step we just talked about, you can see the beautiful, colorful, vibrant clothing on top of the figure, and the figure appears to be falling over, as if the planet were to be unbalanced. You can tell the planet is Earth because if you look closely, you can see countries such as the United States right there. And you get a sense of global warming or climate change just because you see colors that relate to heat. You know, the yellow, the orange, the red, all can relate to heat. Going to the second step of the analytic model of art criticism, we talk about description. We talk about who and what you see in a work of art. Boy on Globe 4 depicts a beheaded male, darker-skinned figure on a sphere. The sphere seems to be the globe of a planet. The color patches on the globe seem to represent Earth. The color patches are multicolored, including pale blue, orange, rusty red, and orange yellow. The male figure at first seems to be running around the globe, but it also appears that he could be about to fall off the globe depending on the viewer's perspective. The male figure is wearing a jacket and either long shorts or short pants, each with unusual decorative patterns. He is wearing black high-top shoes or boots. The figure has outstretched arms and fingers, which suggests that he is off balance and about to fall, though he could yet be running around the globe. The male figure's body position seems to show action and movement. Next, we're going to talk about interpretation. This involves what the artwork actually means. Boy on Globe 4 is used to represent climate change. Shonibare found his inspiration in Brixton, London through batik fabrics. This type of fabric was inspired by Indonesian design, mass-produced by the Dutch and eventually sold to colonies in West Africa. In the 1960s, the material became a new sign of African identity and independence. Shonibare liked the global connection and trade routes of the fabric, and because he is able to strongly identify with the medium due to the multicultural background, he enjoys to incorporate and use them as signatures in his artwork. The boy wearing the colorful fabrics that is trying to balance on top of the globe is shown tumbling to his side. This could represent how the global climate patterns are unbalanced and causing worldwide implications and disturbances, leading the boy to lose his balance and fall over. Another signature seen by Shonibare in his artworks are headless mannequins. It started as a direct reference to the French Revolution, when they used a guillotine to chop off people's heads. He doesn't like his figures to be racially identifiable, so he doesn't incorporate heads in his work either. The globe colors represent the infrared heat maps where global warming is making the greatest impact. Familiar land masses on the globe are disfigured, which could be due to loss of sea ice or sea level fluctuations. Through this art piece, it informs the viewers of the impacts climate change has on Earth. Finally, we're on the last step of the analytic model of art criticism, the evaluation step. This talks about your personal evaluation of an artwork. Because Shonibare's piece, Boy on Globe 4, is able to thoroughly convey the message of climate change and provoke thought in the minds of those who see the piece, it is a very successful work of art. This piece follows the expressionist theory because this is an expression of Shonibare's personal views on the topic of climate change. Rather than simply writing out his opinion on the subject, he expresses his views by using vibrant colors and shows a human struggling to stand on Earth, which makes the viewer think about the issue in a different way. The way Shonibare sees it, because it provokes this thought in the mind of its viewers, it also follows a pragmatist theory. The piece makes a stand for what Yinka believes in on a topic he finds important enough to craft a work of art on. Due to the popularity of this piece, along with his other popular works, this piece has done a very good job of spreading the word about the dangers of climate change. This artwork was chosen because the piece attracts the viewer with the multiple colors used, but also sends out a very important message. Alrighty, that about wraps up our presentation on Yinka Shonibare. I hope you learned a thing or two about the artist and about the analytic model of art criticism. The sources that we used can be seen on the screen above. Thank you and have a good day.